Let's get into this week's bonus topic. We're talking the Rio 2016 Olympics. Golf is returning for the first time in a really long time, but it seems like the pros aren't that excited. There was a test run at the Rio track designed by Gil Hanse this week, and nobody went. Peter, do you think that the PGA Tour players care about the Olympics at this moment when the PGA Tour is really at its best?
Do they care? I think they'll care when they have to care. I think golf is so much mentally about compartmentalizing and dealing with what is in front of you. Focus on the next shot, not the hole, not the score. Let's just hit this next shot. And I think when you're a PGA Tour pro, that's your job. The Olympics, this is a return to golf, as you said. It's not something that all of these players grew up wanting to do, but they all grew up wanting to play well going into Augusta so they have a chance to win the Masters. And that has to be their focus at this point. It's too hard to win every week on tour. The fields are too deep, the players are too talented, the courses are too hard for them to lose focus. And Doral is a course, and the Florida Swing is a place where all these players want to be playing well heading into April. So I can't fault them, even though the PGA Tour said, we'll fly you down on private jets. That would be fun for you and I, but for PGA Tour pros, that's not enough incentive to get them down to Rio to play an exhibition.
That's a good point, and it's not really just the preparation in terms of like getting ready for the Masters and stuff, but there's a lot of money at stake for these pros. Cam, what do you think? Do you think that the PGA Tour pros are going to eventually start paying attention when it matters, or is it just sort of like another thing on their list that they're going to check off eventually?
Well, I think the Olympics mean different things to different players. I think if you look at the American players, they realize that golf is pretty well established in this country, and whatever happens in the Olympics for the U.S. is not going to make a huge amount of difference. Now, take somebody like Anirban Lahiri, who's from India. How he does in the Olympics, what happens there in Rio, is going to make a big impact potentially in India. So you look at places where golf just hasn't really established itself, and you know, places with huge, big populations such as India. That's where the Olympic golf movement actually stands to make an impact. And I'm not really too concerned about tour players not flying down there to check out the golf course. I think I'm with Peter on this. I think they're going to care when they need to care. The tour guys, they'll go along with it. They'll go along with it, but it's not high on their priority list.
The other thing that's a little bit concerning, I've talked to a lot of LPGA players about this because it might affect them more than the men, but are the conditions down there. You know, you're seeing sewage on the ocean front, and you're seeing the Zika virus. So I wonder if that plays a little bit of a part in it. You know, why go down there now when A, we're not focusing on the Olympics quite yet, and B, there's all these other risks, right?
Certainly, I think it's going to be different for you know, different circumstances, and certainly the conditions are a question. And the Zika virus is something that we're still gathering information on, and so there's a lot of unknown right now. And so why go? There's no incentive right now for them to go, other than this sort of nebulous notion of preparation, or are we generating some PR? Even if someone goes, if a couple guys had gone even, how much buzz does that really generate? What's the real benefit? And I just don't think the benefit for them was enough to say, with all of these other factors that you mentioned, to say it's worth it to go down there for me.